their different sources, wherever it's located, whether it's on the web, database, spreadsheets, in any format, you can bring them in. And when you bring them in, the first thing you want to do is to clean it up. And that's where the transformation comes into play, where you have to do a lot of cleaning just to make sure that the final data set you're going to work with is not dirty. And it's not going to be giving you a wrong thing by the time you are done visualizing. So that's what we did last week. Today we're going to be taking it a step further, and we're going to be looking at modeling. So when you have brought in your data set from wherever it's located, and then you have done your cleaning, the next thing you want to do is to model the data. Modeling simply means making the data, creating relationships in the data, formatting it in such a way that it makes sense, and the ability to come up and give it the right properties that it needs. That's grammar, right? So we are going to practicalize it. So without wasting much time, I'm going to go to my Power BI and we're going to bring in that data set, Superstores. However, I decided not to touch the data sets. I know it's a little bit dirty, and that's so that we can be able to just do what we did last week, not like a recap, without wasting time, and then jump on the modeling. So if you can see my Power BI desktop, please confirm so that we can start.
I can see it.
Okay, please help me out. I want to bring in the data set Superstores. How do I go about it? Where do I go to? I'm on my Power BI desktop now. Where do I go to? Please, let's be fast so that we can start today's class.
Get data.
Get data.
Thank you. Okay, before we go on, let me show us the data set. This data set is Superstore data, and it's, you want to know the type of data set you're bringing in. It's the Microsoft Excel. So we're going back to the Power BI. So which of them am I going to select? Because I'm bringing it in.
Excel work.
Excel workbook.
Okay, and I'm bringing in Superstore data, sorry. So it's taking me to the navigator plane. Yeah, we're here. Okay, I think I should have given us a little bit intro into the data set. Let me go to my Excel before we continue. So this is actually the data set that we are bringing in, the Superstore data. And it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tables, different tables on this Excel sheets or Excel documents. And the first one is the orders table. And the orders table has the order ID, the order date, the ship date, the ship mode, the customer ID, the sales rep, location, product, and so on. On the second table, we have the location. So it speaks to the different locations where this particular store have their store, this particular company have their stores. And then we have the calendar, which speaks to our date table. We have the customers. These are their different customers. They have like a record for their customers. We also have the products table. It speaks to all the products that they are actually dealing on. You can see the product ID, the category, subcategory, product name, and so on and so forth. And finally, we have the sales team table. This is what speaks to their sales rep, the sales team, and then the sales team manager. So that's what our data set is all about. I just wanted us to have a feel of what it's all about. So I'm going back to our Power BI. So we're on the navigation plane, and I want to bring in all my data, all my tables. Remember when I opened it on Excel, we saw the calendar table, customer, location, orders, product, and sales team. Now I'm going to bring in all of them. Remember that last week when we talked about if you want to bring in your data set, you can preview it by simply clicking on it, and you get to see the data set, the preview of the data set here. And that's the same for others. If you keep clicking, you're going to see all of them. And then it's now left for you to decide. This from what we can see is telling us that this particular file, Superstore data, has 6 different tables. Now, it now depends on you. Are you going to be working with the 6 of them? Are you going to be working with just 1? Are you going to be working with 2, 3, depending? But for the sake of this class, we're going to be working with all the tables. So we're going to bring in all of them. So for you to bring it in, you just go ahead and select all of them. Okay. And then what do I do next? Can help me. Do I go ahead and load?
Transform data.
Transform data.
Okay.
No, you
Transform
okay. Data.
So why am I even going to transform? Why am I going to transform data instead of load?
So it will
So
take
that
you
you
to
check
the query,
if it.
Power Query.
Thank you. To check if it's clean, to check if it's dirty, to check if you can clean it up. Yeah, thank you. And then if you are going to transform, what does it take you to?
Power Query.
Thank you. That's it. That's our Power Query editor. So we're on the Power Query editor, and we now have all our 6 tables in the Power Query editor. Now I'm going to start with the very first one, which is the calendar. Remember, we want to check if it's okay, if it's good to go, if it's clean. Looking at this is my date table. My date table is giving me both, okay, look at the date table. It's giving me both date and time. If you want just the date, you can go ahead and choose dates. But if you want it as date and time, you can still leave it as date, which is okay. So the data type is okay. From what I can see, there's no empty cell here. The same for this. This is a text, so ABC, which is a text format, is okay. I'm still going to leave it as ABC. The same for year, it's number, it's showing as number, and this and this. So we're good to go for this. I'll go over to the next one, which is customers. Now, this is my customers. I'm seeing something that I don't like. Who can help me out with that? What is the... Come again, please.
So use first.
The title.
Okay, the title, good. This is supposed to be our title, but it's on our first row. So what can we do to take it up to the title?
You say use first.
Use first row as header. Nice one. And we have it now. So we want to check the data types. It's also okay. From what we can see, you have the ABC, and that's okay. Go to location. Our location. This is a text, which is okay. This is a text, which is okay. This is a text, which is okay. This is a text, sorry, number. Remember, this is a code. Then this is a region, which is a text also. Now, for this first column, you can decide, though. For me, I'm going to leave it like this. You can decide to still separate it further, but for the sake of this, I'm just going to leave it here. So for some people, they might want to say, okay, let's split this column so that we'll have the codes. Because if you look at it, you see that 90036 is like a code, same for this, and then you have Los Angeles like that. For some, depending on what you want to achieve, you might decide to split this column further. But for this class, we don't need to split anything, so we're going to leave it like that. Now we'll go over to the next table, which is orders. I think our orders table is okay. We have our text, we have our dates. Let's see. We have text, which is okay. Okay, this is okay, this is okay. So this is what you keep doing. You just take it one by one until you get what you want. And then for the products table, okay, I think there's something we need to work on here. Our column, our title is showing as column 1, column 2. So I'll still do the same thing that we did for the previous one, which is use first row as headers. And yeah, we have it. So we have this as text, 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 okay. Yeah. And the final table, which is the sales team, we still have the same problem again. Okay. So I'm going to take this man off again. Use first row as headers. And we're good to go. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and work with these data sets. So what do I do next? Who can help me out? We're still trying to do like a recap of what we did last week. We're not yet on our main topic for the day. So now that we are done cleaning, what is the next thing to do? Hello, can you guys hear
Close
me?
and apply.
Okay.
Close and apply.
Okay. Yeah, so it's loading. Let's just hold on a minute. Yeah, so whenever you bring in a data set, always ensure that you do your cleaning before you can go ahead and start working with the data sets. Yeah, we're good to go. So now we have loaded our tables. And for you to view it on your Power BI, you have to go to the fields pane, which is this, and you'll be able to view it. These are the different tables that we have just worked on. Okay. Now in Power BI desktop, I know we did something on this last week. We have 3 different views. The first view is what we call the report view. The second one is what we call the data view. And then the third one is what we call the model view. I hope we don't have any questions so far. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
So someone said something about 2 meetings running at the same time.
Come again, please.
Someone dropped something in the chat box about 2 data analytics meeting running. I don't know what.
Really?
Yes, I'm the one who
Anita,
dropped it.
I
If
just
you check,
responded to the person. There's
Okay.
only one meeting. There's
Okay.
usually a meeting in the general chat. That's not data analytics, it's a general chat. And we use that meeting for our monthly meetings. But some people just go join it. But I'm trying to get anybody that is there to come here anyway. But if you come to data analytics, there's only one meeting.
Okay, thank you, Inka. So let's continue. Okay, so like I was saying before, I said when you come to your Power BI desktop, we have different views, and that's the reports, the data, and then our model view. Now, the report view is where we do the reporting, all our visuals and everything, which we are going to treat later, not for today. And then we have the data view, which is where you can view the different tables that you have brought into your Power BI. Okay, so can you see it? We're on our calendar table. And remember, when we were on our Excel sheets, this is what the table looks like. If you want to view all the different tables you have brought in, all you need to do, just click on it, and then it comes on, and you'll see what your data set looks like, just in case, if you have need to look at it once again. That's what our data view is for. And then the third one is the model view, which is where we're going to be looking at today. The model view is actually where you do your modeling. I'm going to collapse this. This is our fields pane where you have all your tables. And then this is our properties. We're still going to come back to it. So, like I said before, in Power BI, the modeling view is where you do your relationship. Now, what is relationship? Relationship simply means the ability to connect different tables that have something in common between them. Now, on that our data set, which is, I'm going back to our data view. On this our data set where we have 6 different tables, we have the calendar, customer, location, orders, product, sales team. We're going to look at them one by one again. Now, this sales team, I'm going to start with the last one. This sales team, if you look at the different column heading, you find out that it's speaking to the different team members. Like the sales rep speaks to the different sales representatives the company has, and then perhaps their team. I'm sure they've grouped them into teams, and their sales team manager. Okay, so this particular table is speaking to the sales team. Products. If you look at our product table, you'll find out that you have the product ID, you have the category, you have the subcategory, and then you have the product name. Everything on this table is speaking to the different products that they have. So let's look at the first one. It says OFF PAs, so number, Xerox 1967. This is the product ID. Now, this particular product falls under the category that is labeled as office supplies. Now, under that office supplies, what type of subcategory is it? It's a paper. And now, the product name is Xerox 1967. So, this particular depot is speaking to anything that has to do with the products that the company sells. Now, if we go over to the next table, which is orders table. Now, this order table is kind of a little bit bigger. We have the order ID. I'm not guessing, that is what it is. The order ID is the different orders that have been made. So you could walk into the store, please, I want to buy, let's say it's a provision store. You walk in, I want to buy Milo. So for every order that is being made, there's an ID that is issued to every order that is made. This is what this order ID speaks to. And then they have an order date. So every day, anytime you walk into the store and make an order, the date is recorded as well as the ship date. So perhaps these ones are the ones, maybe if you book online, or even if you walk into the store, you might say, okay, please, can you ship it to so place for me? Or you book online, when they eventually ship it to you, they have a record for it. Now, their shipping mode, they have different modes from what we can see. And we have the customer ID. So every of their customer, they have a record for their customers, and the customer ID is what they use to identify each customer. They have the sales representatives that has probably been able to bring in this customer for them. Then you have the location ID, product ID, quantity, discount, sales, profit. Now, looking at this orders table, it's kind of speaking to so many things. First, it speaks to the order that is being made, the dates. It also speaks to the different modes of getting this order delivered to the clients. It also has an information that speaks to the customers. That's a customer ID that speaks about the customers. And we also have sales representatives coming in here. We also have location. So there are so many things that this order table is speaking to. It's not just speaking to a specific thing. Okay. So in this case now, I'm driving at somewhere, but I'm just trying to bring out some things for us to see. You can't say the orders. Yes, the order table is talking about orders, but then it's giving us like a little bit information here and there about the customer, about the shipping mode, about the location, about the product, and so on and so forth. Now, when you come back to location, you find out that location speaks to, we have location ID, city, state, postal code, region. Everything here speaks to location. Okay. For customers, it's still speaking about just customers, the kind of, you have the customer ID, the customer name, the segments, what kind of customer that you have. And then finally the calendar table. The calendar table is just our date table that we know. Now, if you notice, the calendar, the customer, the location, the product, and the sales team, they are speaking to a particular type of what do I call it now? A particular type of item. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Let me phrase again. The customer table is speaking just solely to the customers. There's nothing again that it's speaking to. It's just telling us, giving us information about the customers. It's not giving us any information aside that of the customers. Likewise, the location, the products, the sales team, and the dates. Now, this kind of table is what we call dimension table. It's simply giving us information about a particular dimension. So for the customers, it's giving us information about a particular dimension that speaks to customers. For the location, it's giving us, please, can you go on mute? For the location, it's giving us information, sorry, for the product, I'm on the product now. For the product, it's giving us information that speaks to only the dimension for products. And that is why you call them dimension table. It refers to just a particular dimension. Now, for the orders table, this orders table, like we said before, it speaks to so many things. You can see something about the customer, you can see something about the location, you can see something about the products. Now, this kind of table, you can't call it a dimension table because it's speaking to different dimensions if you look at it right now. What you refer to this is what we call the fact table. It's called the fact table because it has like an information for the different types of table that we have on the same data set. So now, let's take for example, we have the customer ID. This customer ID, if you go to our customers table, I'm going to click on it. We have the customer ID. This customer ID is the same with what we have on the orders table. But on this orders table, they have just decided to give us just the customer ID. So if you now want to find out more information about this particular customer, EB13870, all you need to do is to go back to your customers table. Sorry. Go back to your customers table and check for that particular customer ID on this customer ID column. By the time you get it, you'll be able to see your customer name and the segment, the kind of customer, whether it's a consumer or whatever. So that being said, I'm going back to my model view. Now, Power BI by default, it has some intelligence, of course. It's an AI enabled tool, and so sometimes Power BI tries to automatically do what we call relationships for you, and that's where modeling comes into play. Relationship simply means your ability to connect a particular key on a particular table to another table. I'll take it again. Relationship is the ability to connect two tables that have something in common, to be able to link them up so that they can be able to speak to each other. Now, if you come to a data set like this, or this one we are dealing with now, and you do not do your relationship, what I mean by you do not do your relationship is that you do not do all this connection. Now, Power BI has gone ahead to do this relation. This is a relationship. It has gone ahead to connect this table to this table, this table to this table, this table to this table. I'm going to clean it up. We're going to do it so that we can see it. Power BI is just doing it for some of us. If you go on your system, you find out that Power BI will do it for you automatically. But for some of us, you might have to do it for yourself. But even if Power BI does it for you by default, please confirm. 1 minute, please. Sorry, guys. Sorry for that. So like I was saying, in Power BI, even if it does the relationship for you by default, please always confirm that what it has done is correct. But for the sake of this class, I'm going to remove all these relationships that Power BI has done for me. And if you want to do something like that, assuming that you have checked what Power BI has done, but most times, of course, almost all the time, it will be correct. Just simply right-click and click on the delete. It will ask you, are you sure you want to delete this relationship? You say yes, then click delete, and it will take off that relationship. Okay, can you see? There's no relationship again between this table and this table. I'm taking it off because I want us to do it by ourselves. I'm going to do the same for this. Please delete it for me. Just delete it. I want to do it by myself. And same for this. Okay, good. So I've been able to delete all those relationships. I'm trying to bring it so that we can look at all the tables at a glance. I have 6 tables. I'm only seeing 5. That means one is still hidden somewhere. Let me look for it. Yeah, that's it. Let me take it up a little bit so that we can be looking at this. Okay. Okay. So now, like I said before, these ones, the sales team, the location, the customer, the calendar, the products, these are different dimension table. Why this is the fact table? It's a fact table because it has an information that speaks to the different dimension tables. Now, if we look at our sales, let's start with the product. If we look at our products table now, you'll find out that we have the product ID. And I'm going back to this. Let me show something. Product ID. Now, for this particular table, the product ID is the unique ID column that you have here. What do I mean by that? Every other column here can have, let's say, for example, office supplies occurring more than once. So if you can look at this category column, you have office supplies occurring more than once. Same for the subcategory, you can see paper is occurring more than once. I'm sure this one, product name, this Xerox 1967 will be occurring more than once. If you do it, you'll find that it will be occurring more than once. But for the product ID, it will just be unique. Like no 2 products will have the same product ID. The product ID simply speaks to a particular product. So if for this of PA 102365 Xerox 1967, it will only speak to this particular product. It's not going to have any other ID. It's not going to have a duplicate ID that is exactly the same as this. And so this particular column is the column that is unique in this particular table. Now we'll go back to this place. Now, for this particular column that we have product ID being the unique column, that's the column that has unique values, we'll call it our primary key for this particular table. I've mentioned dimension table, I've mentioned fact table. Now I'm on the tables now. I'm speaking to the keys now. We have 2 types of keys. We have the foreign key and the primary key. Now the primary key is the column, or rather is the column that has all the values on that column unique. Unique means a particular value. In this case now, this first cell now, you won't have it occurring more than once. It will only appear once. I'll give us example. A Gmail account. Your Gmail is unique to you. You can never have any other person having that same email account, email name as yours. That is like a unique email or a unique whatever to you. That is what I mean by unique. No two other products will share the same type of unique ID with that particular product. And when you have this kind of column occurring on a particular table, that is your primary key. For this product ID, for this product table, we have the product ID as a unique key. For the customer table, we have the customer ID as a unique key. For the location, we have the location ID, and so on and so forth. Likewise, even the orders table, we have our order ID as the unique column. So back to my model view. What I want to achieve by modeling right now is to be able to connect these two tables, because on my orders table, I have something that speaks to the product, which is the product ID. But for me to know what to speak, to know more about this product ID, like somebody has made an order and I'm seeing that the person actually added a particular product ID. If I want to get more information about that, my orders table is not going to give me that. I will have to go to my dimension table, which is the product table, and find that particular column, which is the product ID. Okay, that is what links these two tables. That is what you have that is common between this table and this table. Now, by the time I find this product ID, which is here on this table, I can now be able to find out, okay, for this particular product ID, the category, the product name, the subcategory that relates to that particular ID. But I can't do that the way this table is now. There's no relationship. If I like, let me go to my report and do all the visualization and everything I want to do. If you have not done your modeling, it won't give you the actual, in fact, it won't even give you good results. It won't give you any reasonable result. So the first thing you want to do is to make sure you are done with your modeling. And to achieve that now, all I need to do is, on these two tables, I've already identified that product ID, and product ID here is the key that is common to this table. Remember, on this table, the primary key is the product ID. But when it comes to this orders table, where it's occurring again, it's no more a primary key, it becomes a foreign key. I'll say that again. The product ID on the products table is the primary key for that table. But when you see it on this orders table, it's no more the primary key for this table. Rather, it now becomes the foreign key for this table. The same applies to customer. The customer ID here is the primary key, but on this table it is the foreign key. So I'll just go ahead and do my relationship. And to do that, all I need to do, you take this now, which is the product ID that is the primary key here. Drag it. Notice that if you can see what I'm doing, I'm dragging it. I have it highlighted and I'm moving it. Move it to this table. I want to match it with the product ID. Please make sure that you have it on the product ID before you leave it. If it's not the product ID, it will go and match with another thing. So once it's the product ID, please leave it. And then it will go ahead and create a relationship for you. That's our relationship. Okay? So we have to be sure that what you did is correct. Just go to that link that you have there. It will get highlighted and you will see the two columns that are speaking to each other. The product ID here and the product ID here. And that's okay. We're going to do the same for others. So for this calendar table, we have dates. And for this, we also have other dates. So I can go ahead and link the two. Remember, make sure you are on the particular column you want to link up before you leave your cursor. It has done that for me. I'll still do the same. Yeah, please.
In case you make a mistake and put on another column, is there a way to undo it?
Of course. So you just right click and delete.
Okay.
Yeah. The same for customer ID. That's my customer ID there. And location ID. That's what you do for all the tables that you want to link up. And then for this sales rep, I want to say something. I want to be sure of what my sales team looks like. So we have sales rep, sales team. Okay, let me see what can link it up with this others. Okay, so we have sales rep. So I'm going to be linking it with the sales rep. I'm going back to my model. So we have sales rep on our orders table. Sorry. I want to scroll down. Yeah. So this is our sales rep, and this is our sales rep, and that's what I'm going to be linking up. Yeah. So sales rep to sales rep, location ID. Where's my location ID here? Let me see. Okay. Location ID to location ID, customer ID. Oh no. This table. Okay. Customer ID to customer ID, date to date, product to product. Voila. We have been able to successfully relate the different tables to create a relationship between all the tables. So now, whatever I'm doing now, this table is speaking to this table, all of them are speaking to the fact table. And I can get information that I need on the different dimension table. That being done, we've talked about relationship. Now, another thing we're going to look at is cardinality. Cardinality.
Please, I have.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Can you link two columns in one from one table to the from one dimension to the fact table?
Okay, yeah.
Must
So
it be just
sometimes, okay. So sometimes you might find out that a particular table has like how do I put it now? Two different columns that have something similar. Let's take, for example, this date table now. I can see date here. Where's my other date again? Where's the other date? Yes. We used our other date to link up this. But I think we also have ship dates here. We have ship dates. I can actually match this date to either the other table or ship dates. Okay? But for Power BI, okay, let me go ahead and do that and then explain further. I can decide to link this table. It depends on what I want to achieve. I can decide to link this date also to this ship date. It's creating the relationship. Let's just hold on. Good. It has created this relationship. Did you notice that for the first one, I have a tick line, but for the second one, I have like dotted line, showing us that it's a relationship. Now, Power BI only recognize one active relationship at a time. Okay? What do I mean by that? This particular table, at this particular point in time, Power BI is recognizing the order dates. Let's scroll up again so that you see what I'm talking about. It's recognizing the relationship between the order dates and the dates on the calendar table. But I've gone ahead to do a second relationship. You can go ahead and do it too. But Power BI will only recognize the first one and leave the other one inactive. So if you see a model like this and you're seeing this dotted line, you will know that automatically this is an inactive relationship. You can now call this man up when you want it. Perhaps when you now want to speak to something that has to do with ship dates and you need to work with that particular relationship, then you can make this man active and then this one becomes inactive. But at every point in time when you're working with Power BI, you just have to you have to have only one active relationship at a particular point in time. I don't know if I answered that question.
Yes, but I also have a follow-up now. If you want to make this inactive one, the active one, what do you do?
Okay, good question. So all you need to do, you right click, go to your properties and say, you see this place where you have make this relationship active.
Yes.
Can you see it? Once you highlight it,
Yes.
it will give you like a warning that so and so is already this. Why do you want to? If you now want to, you can go ahead and make this other man inactive and make the other one active. Just go ahead. Say, please, I don't want you to be active. Oh, thank you. And then go back to this one. Click on your properties and say, okay, can be active. And then it becomes active.
Okay.
Is this
Thanks.
what? So that's it. I'm going to go back again. I don't want it this way. Let me just go back to the. Any question?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I was going to ask, must you
Okay.
have a fact table?
So when you need a fact table, yes, of course, you must always have a fact table. When you need a fact table is if, for example, you have a data set that has all your information on a particular table, but it doesn't have like the different detailed information about that particular column on it, then you find out that you have the detailed information on different other tables. Now, if it's a big company like this one that we're dealing with now, you find out that clustering all this information on one table will not be good at all. Already the other table is already looking too much for us to even look at once. That's why it's best to just break it down and have their different dimensions, so that when you now want to make reference to a particular dimension, just simply use the foreign key on that fact table and locate it. But if it's a data set that is not so voluminous and you have all your information on just one table, then there is no need for even fact and dimension table. You just have one table that you're working with.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm going to still remove this guy. I don't want it here.
I want to ask a question.
Sorry, what's that?
Hello.
Okay, yeah, I can hear you.
So, you mentioned we should ensure we don't move the highlight against another subhead, another column on the facts table. So, if you happen to move another one, move it to any other column, like something that is not a relationship with one of the dimension table. I thought naturally Power BI should not allow that to work. So why should that work?
Okay, let's do a practical. Let's do a practical. I'm going to take this. Let me take this off and let's do that so that you see. So this is my product ID. Let me just keep it on. Let's say. Let me choose. Okay, let me even choose this column. Discount. Can you see? It created the relationship because that's why you're telling Power BI. You know, for some times, this particular data set is even clean to the extent that you have the same column name, product ID, product ID. For some, you might find a data set that you have the name here, product ID, and then this one is showing us, let's say, PRD. It's still the same thing, no? It's still the same column, but the naming system now is different. It will do the relationship for you. But by the time you are done and you now want to start doing your other analysis and visualization, it will be giving you a wrong thing because this man that you have linked with this other man, which is our discount table now, they don't have anything in common. They don't have any relationship whatsoever. And so by the time you're telling Power BI, please, oh, I need them product. Of course, this product ID that it's here that is supposed to be speaking to this table that has other things that have a relationship with it. It's not speaking. So by the time you're clicking on this product ID, it's not going to be giving you anything because Power BI is not seeing the corresponding table. And this discount is in no way related to this. So if you do that, Power BI will go ahead and do what you have asked it to do. And that's why you have to be sure that you are doing the right thing by always cross-checking. Because once you are doing the wrong thing, it could be your modeling that is the problem. And by the time you're doing your visualization, it's giving you a different thing. And that's not what you want. So I think I've answered that question. So I'll go ahead and delete it. So I'm going to go ahead and match this two again. Okay. Yeah, so that's it for our relationship. We've been able to achieve relationship. The next one we're going to talk about today is cardinality. There's something we call cardinality in Power BI. Let me right click on this, go to the properties so that you can see what I'm talking about. This is it, cardinality. Cardinality simply means this relationship. How is this table speaking to this other table? We have different types of cardinality. We have the one-to-one. We have the one-to-many, which is what we are saying now. One-to-many. We have the many-to-one, and we have the many-to-many. Let me take it again. One-to-one, one-to-many, many-to-one, and what is it again? Many-to-many. What it simply means is that I'm going to use what we have on our table already. One-to-many. It simply means on this data set, the product ID, which is our primary key here, is the unique table. And on that particular column, everything is unique, like you can only see it only once. But on this table, you cannot come more than once, which is understandable. This is our other table. I mean, different customers can come in and buy a particular product on different times, and for every time it's being bought, they will have to record that particular product ID against the product. And that's why maybe Anita comes in and buys pen, and the code for pen is 001. Ugochi will also come in, buy a pen. Of course, when I'm recording, I'm still going to put it as 001. And that's why you find out that that particular product ID will occur more than once. And that's where this many comes into play. Why on this table? Because on this table, I'm speaking to this particular, anything that has to do with pen. Anything that has to do with pen, I will have it occurring once, because once I just come to my code and say, once you see 001, please, it's my pen. 002, eraser. 003, book, and so on and so forth. That's what it means. Now, if you have many to one, which is, I mean, if you're writing the exam, they like to twist with their exam questions and they will confuse you. So you want to be sure when you're doing the relation. They might say the relationship between the product and the other stable. What is the cardinality? In this case, it's one to many. But if they twist the question and it changes the relation between the others and products table, sorry, it's still the same question that asks, but in a reverse order. It becomes many to one, because the one that has the many, that has the key occurring more than once, is the others table, while the dimension table is just once. And then finally, we have the many to many. Many to many simply means on this particular table is occurring more than once. On this table is occurring more than once. One to one, just like the name. On this table is occurring once. On this table is occurring once. Now, one to one, many to many is not so common. It happens, but on rare cases. And when that happens, it's another type. It's a special case, like especially the many to many. If there are special measures that are taken to ensure that you don't have a wrong model. But most times, in fact, 90% of the time, if not 95, you always see one-to-many relationship or many-to-one relationship. That's what our cardinality is all about. That being said, the next thing I want us to also look at is the direction. I'm going back to the properties again. The cross-filter direction. Now we have two types. Okay, just what I discussed with us now. One-to-many, one-to-one, one-to-many. Sorry, many-to-one, one-to-one, one-to-many, and many-to-many. These are the different cardinalities you have. Now, for the direction, we have just two. We have either the single or both direction. Now, when you have, what we have now on our data set is the single direction. Look at this arrow here. That's the direction. Telling us the direction how this table is speaking to the other. It's single. Okay, information flows like this. Now, when you have both, you will see this arrow, one pointing like this and pointing the other way. That means they're speaking to each other, like vice versa. Most times it happens whenever you have a many-to-many relationship. By default, it will become both, because they're both speaking to each other, vice versa. And that's for the direction. We've been able to cover the relationship, the cardinality, and direction. Now we're going to move a step further and look at properties. Okay. Now, This is our orders table. For anything you want to know about this orders table, you can find it out on what we call the properties pane. Okay, from our properties pane, I can say that the name of this table is orders. If I don't want it to be orders anymore, I can decide to change it. Let's say, and I want to call it orders table. Let's do this. And it will take effect immediately. It becomes orders table. Okay. Now, orders table. Synonyms. Power BI has an artificial intelligence property that helps us to model it in such a way that, let's say, for example, let's take for example, on this orders table, on this orders table, I have sales. Good. Sales. Sales, another name for sales can be income, right? I can go ahead and tell Power BI, please, apart from sales that we already know, that is, what we have coming in for us, tell Power BI, please, if somebody is asking me for income, let the person know that my income is also the same thing as my sales or revenue, Or, okay, let's take for example, if you, I don't know, I'm going to ask us, what is sales in your dialect? Let's even take it another dimension. Sales in, I don't know. We have different tribes in Nigeria. I'm in Nigeria, so that's why I'm using Nigeria as a case study. In Nigeria, sales in different language. Somebody should help me. Your own dialect, what is it called?
Ahia.
Ahia. Okay. Ahia. Any other? Ahia should be Igbo. Any other one? I want us to see something. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. Eh?
It's ethic.
Please come again. I didn't get that.
Uyam, as in uyam.
Please spell it.
It's
Am I
ethic.
correct?
Yes, uyam.
Okay. Efik.
Yes, Cross River.
Okay. Efik. Oh, Efik. Okay, I get it now. Sorry. Okay, Uyam. Any other person?
Ajay in Yoruba.
What?
Ajay in Yoruba.
J. Is that correct? AJE.
Yes.
Okay, good. Hausa call? We don't have any Hausa student here. Okay. So now, what we are telling Power BI by this that we have done is, please, anytime somebody is asking for sales, yes, so I know that the column name is sales, but there are other things that people might know it, maybe in your place, and you are trying to make a presentation, and what they understand is Ajay, and then you're saying sales, they'll just be looking at you, what this guy is saying. But once you just mention Ajay, everybody's okay, oh, nice, sales, okay. You can tell Power BI, please, just put this here so that if these people are looking for Ajay and they might just go and look for Ajay, and it's Power BI said that I don't know what you're talking about, which is Ajay. Put it here and tell Power BI, please, when they ask for Ajay, they should know that it's sales. When they ask for IAM, they should know that it's sales. When they ask for IHIA, they should know that it's sales. Now, I'm going to do a little bit visual so you understand what I'm saying. I'm going to my visual. I'm going to use the Q&A visual on Power BI. And I'll start with total sales. Let me type total sales. Total sales. So Power BI is telling me that my total sales for that, let me show us our orders table. Yeah, this is my orders table. This is our sales column. So for all the sales that we've made, the total of it, what we are getting is 2.3 million. Okay. Power BI is telling me that total sales, that's just the calculation is telling me. Now, maybe somebody from my village doesn't understand. The person wants to know that, please give me what is my total Ajay. And we did not understand your question. Let's go back and see what the problem is. It's telling me they did not understand my question. Why? Let's see. Oh, so after doing what I did, I didn't even apply. Okay, good. Let's do it again. I said I want Ajay to be one of my synonyms. And you're telling me you don't understand what I'm saying. Please, let's go back and see. Ajay is there now. You should better recognize it. Good. Total Ajay. I'm simply telling Power BI. So it's not only when people are asking you for sales. I know by default sales is the name of my column. But when they're giving me other this thing that also speaks to sales, please tell it. It's okay. I'm going back to model again because the ones that I did before wiped off. I don't know why. I have Ahia. I have Oyam, right? Oyam. Okay. Okay, good. I'm going back again. I'm going to ask Power BI. Please, I'm presenting to my people, and me, I'm from, I speak Efik, right? And what I know as sales is Oyam. Sorry. Oyam. Give it to me. Can you see? Power BI will just go ahead and give it to you. So that's another beautiful thing about Power BI. And for you to be able to achieve this, which is also a type of modeling, all you need to do, go to your synonyms, depending on the column you're working with. I'm speaking to the sales column. Always make sure you're on the column, and then go to the properties and go to your synonyms and tell Power BI, please, whenever you see sales, if you hear Ajay, if you hear Ahia, if you hear Oyam, I didn't even do for Ahia again. Let me do for Ahia so that we are sure that everybody is covered. So Ahia, and that's it. It keeps giving me the sentence because it recognizes that all these things are speaking to the sales column. Now, let me try something now. Of course, we have even done it the first time. If I go and say, let's say total revenue. Probably is already telling me, we didn't understand your question. No. Because in my model, I didn't even tell Power BI that revenue is the same thing as sales. And so this information, this message will pop up and tell me, I'm not understanding you. I don't know what you're talking about. Which one is revenue? So it's your duty to go to your model view and say, okay, please, whenever I say sales and I'm talking about revenue, Power BI, please, just know that I'm speaking to my sales. Speaking to my sales. Please, whenever you do that, please click out so that you are sure that it takes effect. And then come back to this. It's still giving me a why. I didn't spell this thing very well. Revenue. Yeah, that's it. And you have it. So I hope you understood that.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's for the synonyms. Now, another thing I want us to look at, still on this sales. Notice that you are seeing summation in front of this. That's because we are dealing with numbers here. And so that's why even when I was asking Power BI for it, already understands that these are numbers and you can do the sum. You know, in mathematics we have the mathematical function, which is the sum, subtraction, and so on and so forth. Automatically, you're telling Power BI, please, these are numbers, and this simply means it can sum up everything that you have here. This sales rep is a text, and so it has nothing to do with number, and that's why you're not seeing this here. Now, another thing I want to teach us today, once it's 7:30, we are closing this class, so please, and then we'll continue next week. Another thing I want us to look at is what we call formatting. Formatting in Power BI, you can also do that when you are modeling. Now, formatting simply means what kind of data type, which we have already done. And still, assuming when you while you were doing your cleaning, you made a mistake, and for some reasons you didn't choose the right data type for a particular column. No problem, don't worry. You can do that on your Power BI desktop when you get your model view. All you need to do, just go to the format pane, click on the data type, you select type of data, and then that's it. For the sales, I know for our sales, let's look at it again. That's my sales. It's a decimal, so it's okay. So I'll just leave it as decimal, and the format. If you want it in percentage, this is where you can do that. Okay, and just say, let's say the percentage of so. You can put it on, and it will do a percentage for you. But I'm not sure that's what I want to do now, so I'm going to put it off again. If you want your 1,000 separator, you know, when by default, when you have 1,000, you have 1,000. That's what I mean by 1,000 this thing. Let's look at that table again. Let's look at that black column again. So good. Look at this first one. We have 1,044.63. It's just showing like that. But I want it to give me that 1,000 separator where you have 1,0444. You can achieve that. Just go back to your model view and put on this man. Say, please, come on. I want you to be active. Let's go back and check. Okay, can you see? It has gone ahead to do the separator for us. So you now have 1,000, it makes sense. It's more readable now. Looking at it at a glance, you will know that, okay, this is 1,000, and and so in fact, it will make more sense assuming the values we have here are like, let's say 1,736 naira, 1,420. By the time you put this, it will make a lot of sense when you're looking at that column. So that's it for the 1,000 separator. You can still go ahead and tell Power BI how many decimal points. Do you want it 1? Do you want it 2? I would like to leave it at 2. But if you want it to be 1,
Your screen is steady from my end.
come again.
Your screen is steady
Is
from my end.
it the same for every other person? Let me know if it's my network.
I can see your screen, ma'am.
Okay. Please check your network. Maybe it's from your network. Okay. And that's it. Hmm?
That's it. The 1,000 separator you did, I couldn't see that.
Okay, you can see it from okay. Okay. Let me do something. Are you seeing formatting on your own? Hello? The person that can't see the 1,000 separator, can you see this formatting?
I can see.
Okay, good. Click on the drop down arrow and scroll down. Can you see it now?
I can.
Okay. Continue. And that's how you do your formatting. Okay. Now, the last thing we're going to look at before we call it a day or a night is hierarchy. So in Power BI, there's what we call hierarchy. Of course, you can tell me what hierarchy, in your own understanding, what is hierarchy? When you hear the word hierarchy, what does it mean?
From the
Level.
highest.
Okay. Placement is how high or low it is.
Thank you. So hierarchy is like different levels of a particular thing. I'll give us example. Let's say, for example, states. When you come to the word, if you want to break down the word, the first thing that you want to look at is the continents. When you get to continents, you want to break it down again to countries. When you get countries, well, then I want to break it down to states. That's hierarchy. States, maybe after states, you have local governments and maybe the towns now, or the different cities. That's what we call hierarchy. Thank you for that. So in Power BI, we also do hierarchy. Now, let me see if I have anything that speaks to location. Good. I have location. And from this now, I can see that I can see city, I can see region, I can see states. Okay. From this, by default, I know region should come first. Region perhaps is speaking to southeast. Let's go to our data this thing again. Let's look at that sales location table. Yes, that's it. A location ID, city, state, postal code, region. Region speaks to the different regions, the north, west, east, south, and the rest. And of course, when you come to Nigeria, we have the north, south, west, and east. This is the region that speaks to it. From what we can see, region should be like the top most, right? Then the next thing after region should be states. So when you come to the west, you have California. If it's in Nigeria, you have Oyo State, Ondo. If it's in the south, and so on and so forth. Let's just not waste our time. And likewise, city. So we'll have region coming first, followed by state, and then city. Now, that's what I want to achieve in Power BI. I want Power BI to do something for me. I want Power BI to do a hierarchy for me. And there's many ways to achieve that. I can decide to come to this man and right click. Oh, come on. Sorry, let me go to my model view. You can either achieve this from your model view or from this place, but let's go to the model view because we are modeling. I can go to my region. That's where I am right now. And I want to create like a hierarchy for my region. I can right click on it and say create hierarchy for me. And once I click on it, it will create a hierarchy for me. This is it. This is the hierarchy that's created. If I drop down this now, you find that our region is now under the region hierarchy. Now, I want to bring in my, after the region, sorry, the next thing I should bring in is my states. I can right click on my state, go to add hierarchy. Remember, okay, let me go back. I want to show something. When I created my region hierarchy, I was on this. I did right click, create region hierarchy, and then it created this hierarchy for me. Now, if you drop down this arrow, you find out that this region that it says is now under my region hierarchy. But the name of this hierarchy is region hierarchy because it did that on the region hierarchy. If you want to rename this, you can still do that. Remember what I told you people the first time. You can just come here and say maybe state hierarchy or location hierarchy. You have it. Okay. It has changed the location hierarchy. And what I have under my location hierarchy at the moment is region. The next thing I want to bring in after region is states. I still have it here. All I need to do when you get to state, you right click. You see, instead of, we're no more creating a new hierarchy because we've already created one. All we need to do is now to add to that hierarchy. You'll see this option. For some, you'll see add to hierarchy. If you have the new Power BI, you'll see this is already there by default now. But if you don't have this, I will show us another way to do that. But if you have this, all you need to do it pops up the name of the hierarchy. Is it location hierarchy? Yes. If I've created more than one hierarchy, I will see all those hierarchies. It's not left for you to choose the particular hierarchy you want it on. But for this, I want it to be on location hierarchy. So I'll just go ahead and select it. And I have it there now. So you have region, state. I also want to put city under this hierarchy. So if you have the old model and you want to move city and you're trying to do the right thing and not see the add hierarchy, but I'm sure everybody will be seeing it by now. You will just drag this and come to the location hierarchy and drop it there. Sorry guys for the background noise. So, can you see? I don't know if you saw what I did last. I didn't do create this time around. I just dragged it and placed it on top of the location name that I wanted to be on. I left it and then it just added by default. So now, if you go to the location hierarchy, you find out that you now have the region, state, city. We have successfully done our hierarchy for this particular date. We can also do the same for products. This time around, we're going to be the ones to do it. For this product, let's go back to our products table. After this, we are rounding up for the day. Go back to our products table. This is our products table. We have the, sorry, it's not products table. I want my data view, products.
Please, a brief question. I didn't really get what the point of the hierarchy is.
So when you are doing your visualization, okay, by the time you start doing your visualization, maybe you was making a presentation to your organization, and they want to see how the different regions are performing. Okay, your visual, by this hierarchy now, it will help your visual to be able to break it down for you, so you can start by showing them by regions. This is how they're performing. By the time you drill down, you are drilling down to your states. So let's say, for example, the West is performing best. You now want to drill down on West. Okay, on the West, please tell me which state is performing better or best on my West region. By the time I drill down, because I've done this hierarchy, it makes sense. It makes it easier for me to be able to now, start telling them by using the hierarchy. But if you don't do all this, and then everything will just be there, popped up and looking at you like that. So that's the essence of hierarchy.
Okay. Thanks.
Did I answer the question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we are going to do for the products too. And for this product, we have, why is this product not coming up? For this product, we have category, subcategory, product name. What do you think should be like the topmost on the hierarchy for this product now?
Product name.
Okay, any value opinion?
Product name.
Product name. Any other view?
Category.
Category. Okay, any other view? Somebody's category. Somebody's background is kind of properly. So some people are saying product name, some people are saying category. Any other view, any other opinion? Okay. So I think the correct answer should be category, because when you come to your category, you have it as the topmost, then you now have a subcategory, and then the product name. So this particular product is under a subcategory, which is paper, and the subcategory paper is under this category, which is office supplies. So the top on the hierarchy should be category. So if I want to achieve this now, if I want to achieve this hierarchy, how do I do it? I'm going back to my model view. So somebody should please help me. We're on our products here, products table. What do I do?
You click left, right click on category.
Okay.
And create hierarchy.
Okay. Okay. I've been able to create
then
that.
Once created, you can now click on subcategory.
Okay. Sorry, I should click. I've clicked on my subcategory.
And drag it to go under category in the category hierarchy.
Under it?
Yes, under category.
Like here now.
Go up a bit.
Yeah.
Can I assist? Put it
I think
on
you
the
have to drop
category
that on the
hierarchy
category
name.
hierarchy.
Okay, thank you. Good. So we now have category and subcategory. Okay, what next?
Product name.
Product name. Okay, what do I do to product name? Throw it away.
Click on it and drag it to the category hierarchy.
Okay, thank you so much.
Question. In your hierarchy, can you also drag things around to change which one is at which level?
Like drag like this, like this. It's
Yes,
not
but if
dragging.
you yes, if
Can you
you
see what I'm
change
doing? I'm trying to
yes,
drag it.
but if
It's
you change your
dragging.
mind, how do you now reorganize? Do you have to delete and then put it back?
Do I have to what? Come again.
If, for instance, you changed your mind and you want product name to be the first one in this category hierarchy now, how can
Okay.
you rearrange?
Okay, so remember that we're on the field screen. On your properties, can you see hierarchy?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Now, on this place now, I can drag. I see what
Oh,
I'm
okay.
doing.
Okay.
I can decide to drag and put it where I want to be. If you want to save yourself stress, you can still just take it off and then start all over again. But me, I don't want that kind of stress. I can just drag and then keep it where I want it to be, and that's it. Any other
Okay.
questions?
So,
Yes,
click
ma'am.
on the drag down on select a column to add level. Is
Come
it the
again?
same thing with the option?
Yes,
Yes.
it's the same thing. So either you go through this or you go through this. Either you go through this or you go through this. So let me even cancel this now. Let me even cancel this as well. I've already created a category hierarchy and I only have this now. I want to add another one. I'll just go ahead, click on this, it will add. Go ahead, click on product name, it will add. Once I'm done, yeah, that's it. I have it here.
Okay, ma'am,
If
please.
I
I
remove
want
it again, it goes off. If I remove it again, it goes off. I want us to look at this side. That's I'm trying to show something. Sorry. Okay, I've removed something, but I've not applied level changes. Once I click on this apply level changes, this one will go off.
Okay.
Oh, come on, give me that bullshit now. Anyway, please go ahead with your question.
Okay, ma'am, please. It has to do with modeling. We
Okay.
were creating relationships. So I was going to ask, when creating relationships, is it just if the title matches with the one in the fact table, not necessarily their components?
I'm going to do something now so I can answer that question.
Like, for instance, I was asking because when
Okay, now look at this now. I have product ID matching PRD.
okay,
Are you with me? Now
yes,
I just changed the name PRD. It wasn't PRD, I just changed it now. But I have looked at my columns before doing this. This column, what I have on this column, the content of this column is the same as what I have here. The difference is that this one is occurring once and this one is occurring twice. Maybe whoever that was entering this data, why he was entering it, perhaps he was in a hurry. He just, instead of putting product ID, he just decided to put it as PRD. Of course, he knows what PRD is. It speaks to the ID, product ID. It doesn't stop you from doing your relationship. The
okay.
most important thing is that you should make sure that the content of what is here, go ahead and do your listing. Your
Now, why I asked was when you match the sales rep under sales team, the sales rep in the fact table. I do not think I think one had the names of sales rep and the other one showed organic. That was why I was quite confused.
Okay, please let me go back to that so I understand what you're saying. So yeah, you said what? Where?
The sales rep, yes, sales.
Okay, sales table. Okay. What happened to it?
Okay, one showed the names of the the rep, while the other one in
Yeah,
the
the
fact
sales rep,
just
yes.
showed organic. So I was kind of confused.
Sorry, the others table now. This, right?
Yes. So I was confused how you matched them.
So under this sales rep now,
Okay.
we have other things occurring there. We have Abigail Thompson, we have Alan Ray, we have Anwu, Daniel Gates, so on and so, Erica Jones, and so on and so forth. These are the different names on this column. You are seeing organic because organic perhaps is the sales rep that made all these sales. Let me drag this thing down. Maybe when we go towards the end, you might start seeing other names. Can you see other people's names?
Okay. Okay.
So these are other people that are also sales rep. So what I simply did, I know that this here are the names of sales rep, and that is what I have on my table. On my sales table, sales team table, I also have this sales rep's name coming up here again. And so I can match the two. It's the same people.
Okay.
See that Erica Jones that we saw there and who and the rest. So that's it. So when you're modeling, you match two like columns.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Any other question? Okay.
Yes, please. Sorry to take you back. Can you just mention the 3 model views on the left again, what they're called?
Okay. So we have, is this what you're referring to? Let me be sure.
Yes.
Okay, so you have the report. You can see it from my distance. Once you point to that report, which is where you do your reporting, where you do your visualization. Data view, which is where you can view your different data sets to have an idea of what the data set looks like. And the third one is the model view, where we do the modeling.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other question? Okay, so thank you guys once again. Today's class was also interesting again. Nice having you guys.
Thank you, Mom.
We'll continue next week.
Nice.
Modeling, we still have some things under
Thank
modeling, but we'll
you.
continue. Thank you.
Quick announcements
Thank you.
before you guys run away. This is Alainka. I just want us to understand that modeling is like the brain box of your data analytics, and it is important that you understand it. Now, when you do data analytics, especially maybe in Power BI, the visualization is what everybody sees and is what looks interesting and fantastic. However, for you to have a good visual, it is important that your modeling is done correctly. It's just like when you're cooking soup, and let's say the egusi soup, and you have to cut your leaves, you have to grind your egusi. All of that are what is important, not the mixing it in the pot. And if you don't get the modeling right, by the time you're doing your visualization, you're going to have a lot of challenges. And I hear a lot of questions on why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? For example, why are we doing hierarchies? Why are we doing relationships? All of this is just a build up to getting the right visuals. And by the time we start doing the visualization, we will now understand better why we needed to do most of the things that we're doing in modeling. And regarding the dimension tables, foreign keys, and also the types of relationships, I've shared 2 links on the chat. So I would encourage us to go through each of those links. They are Microsoft Learning documents. If you read it and you go through it properly, it will help you to understand a lot of what we have done today, and also when you're doing it on your own. So please let's endeavor to read those things, just so that also when we come next week, we would understand better what we are doing. And of course, as usual, practice, practice, practice. And talking about practice, I would like to make a reference to, for example, in the properties part that Choma talked about. I know she did like 2 examples there, but there are like a gazillion of things under that properties that we won't be able to go through all of it in class. So if you're practicing on your own, then you can try all of those things on your own. How you can change one thing or the other, how you can, a lot of things you really can do. And like she had said, the beauty of Power BI is many times there are usually 1,000 ways to do the same thing. So any one of the methods that you find easier for you, you can use it to achieve the same result. But please, let's not stop practicing. Like, these are our second class. We've done a lot of things in the first class and then in today's class. Let's read those links that I've shared and practice the things that we have done. Just help us understand better. And again, I really appreciate the feedback, the participation. It's very encouraging. So let's keep it up. That would be all
Okay.
for me. Okay, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Unhappy, I
Wait.
see you. What are you doing in our class?
Let her talk to them now. Onapi is our student, best student for Cohort 1.
From Cohort 1, yeah.
I think I probably joined the wrong class, but I was just like, okay, let me see through all the same. But it was nice. It was nice being in the class again, and going through everything again. It was really nice. And what will I say? Nothing else. I'll just encourage everybody to, keep. I liked this class actually. It's quite it's very interactive and enjoyable as well. So I'd just like to encourage everybody to keep it up. And, these ladies are fantastic. Don't worry, they'll take you to the promised land.
Promised land. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your weekend. As usual, the recording will be
Thank you.
up on
Please,
our
before
YouTube
you go,
channel.
can you show us where the data set we used today is again?
Okay, let me share my screen again now. I'll just do that now.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes.
Okay, so when you get to the channels where you have data analytics, go to the files, course exercises. Today is the class 2, so click on that. That's it. Superstore data. Yeah. Okay. Good night, guys. Thank you so much.
Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Okay, thank you, Chama.
Thank you.
Nice, thank you.
Thank you.